In distant villages, there are often houses on the outskirts in which strange people live. Others are afraid of them, try not to come close, call them witches or hermits behind their backs. People sincerely fear unsociable neighbors because there is little information about them due to the fact that they don't tell anyone about themselves, so rumors are exaggerated with fantasy and invention. They scare small children, and over time, people stop looking at them altogether. In one such remote village, a woman lived in an old dilapidated house. She was very unsociable, did not communicate with anyone, and no one came to visit her either. No one knew what she was doing there. They only saw that she often went to the forest, but they didn't know why. They called her Shishiga, and this nickname stuck. She lived alone for a long time. Small children were forbidden to come close to her house because a witch lived there. Marina, a girl of about 7 years old who lived in that village with her parents and her younger sister, loved going to the forest, picking mushrooms and berries. She knew all the paths in the forest, knew where to go for mushrooms and where to get berries without getting lost. One day, as usual in the morning, she went to check if mushrooms had grown after the rain. She was glad to see there were lots of mushrooms there. Marina filled her skirt because she did not take a basket with her and intended to return the next day prepared. Upon arrival in the village, the girl told all of her friends that there were lots of mushrooms in the forest and that she was going to go and pick them tomorrow. Her mother asked her to take her little sister with her so that she could walk and play in the forest. Marina loved her little sister Vera very much, so she agreed with pleasure. The next morning, their mother gave the girls a basket for mushrooms and sent them into the forest, warning them not to leave the usual path or go too far into the forest. But she was not worried about the girls, knowing that it was safe enough in this part of the forest. Marina was so disappointed when she found that all of the mushrooms were already picked. She shouldn't have told everyone the day before where she found them. She could not return home without mushrooms as she had already promised her mother to bring a lot of them. Therefore, the girl decided to go further into the forest to look for mushrooms there. Marina was so carried away by the search for mushrooms that for a while she even forgot that her little sister was following her. At last, she stumbled upon a large clearing of mushrooms. She was so excited. When the girl had filled her basket full of mushrooms, she asked Vera without turning around, "How many mushrooms did you manage to pick up?" But no one answered. Marina looked around in horror, but Vera was nowhere to be found. Real fear seized the girl as soon as she realized that her little sister was lost alone in the forest, that she was now wandering somewhere among the trees and crying, not knowing which way was out. Marina started running through the forest, shouting her sister's name. She could not even imagine what her mother would say if Marina returned home alone. She returned several times to the place from where they entered the forest and then ran back, constantly shouting for Vera, but she did not respond. Then Marina decided to enter the forest from the other side. Maybe Vera was there. She went out into the clearing and ran along another path when she suddenly stumbled upon Shishiga's house. She was so immersed in the search for her sister that she did not notice how she ended up at the woman's house, which she was strictly forbidden to approach. For a couple of minutes, she stood at the gate wondering what to do: call Shishiga and ask for help, or run further into the forest herself, or return to the village, confess everything, and ask adults for help. At that moment, the door of the old house opened and a woman came out. The girl screamed in panic, seeing the unsociable elderly woman for the first time. She expected that she would look like some kind of monster from fairy tales, but she turned out to be the most ordinary old woman and even had kind eyes. Without knowing why, Marina found she felt comfortable with this woman. In tears, she told her that her little sister had lost her way in the forest and was now wandering around alone. By that time, it was already starting to get dark. Shishiga took the girl by the hand and said that she would help her find her sister. So they entered the forest together. Suddenly, very close in the bushes, something ran. Marina screamed out in fear, but the elderly woman indicated that they needed to be quiet. And then a huge gray wolf with amber eyes came out of the bushes. He stopped in front of the woman, as a loyal dog would stand in front of their owner, awaiting a command. Shishiga silently looked into his eyes, and the wolf, as if he understood what she had told him, ran into the forest, only occasionally stopping so that the woman and the girl could catch up with him. Very soon, he took them out to a clearing where, to Marina's great surprise and joy, she saw her little sister. She was lying on the ground sleeping, and next to her there was a basket filled with mushrooms. Shashiga carefully took the sleeping girl in her arms so as not to wake her and carried her out of the forest. All the way back, Marina tried keeping up with the woman, and next to them, the wolf ran through the bushes, accompanying them to Shashiga's home. When they were at the gate, it was already dark, but the girl had so many questions that she could not just leave. Then the elderly woman told the girl her story. She found this wolf as a pup in the forest. His mother was shot by hunters, but managed to escape and carried her pup away in her teeth. Unfortunately, the wound was fatal, and the wolf pup was left all alone in the frosty winter forest. The woman felt sorry for the animal, and she brought him home. She fed him, took care of him, and he stayed at her place with her dog Dinka. After Dinka passed away, the little wolf pup grew into a beautiful and strong wolf. But he did not want to live in captivity and went into the forest, not straying far from Shashiga's house, and he very often ran to visit her. When he saw a little girl lost in the forest, he apparently remembered how he himself was left alone in the forest when he was young and decided to protect the child. Then he showed his mistress where the girl was so that she could save her as she had once saved him. The woman also told the story of why she lived alone on the outskirts of the village and did not communicate with anyone. It turned out that many years ago she lost her entire family and was very heartbroken. For a long time, she could not find the strength to see people or lead a normal life. During this time, people came up with various fables about her, and then they started to believe them. And so it happened that all the neighbors stopped visiting her, and then they even called her a witch. Marina listened intently. She believed the words of the elderly woman. She felt sincerely sorry for her because she was forced to be here all alone simply because of invented stories. All this time, Vera slept sweetly in Shashiga's arms, and when Marina was about to leave, her sister woke up and they walked home together. Of course, Marina's mother scolded her for returning home so late, but the girl simply said that they got lost in search of the best mushrooms. She did not say anything to anyone about her meeting Shashiga or about the wolf. And only after that, from time to time, she started going to the outskirts of the village to the old house in order to visit the lonely woman and listen to her interesting stories about life, about how she lived all those years alone, about her wolf pup, and many, many other interesting stories. If you enjoyed this story, then click like, write your opinion in the comments, and subscribe to our channel. Do not forget to click the bell icon so as not to miss our new stories.